Violence over accreditation has delayed the opening of the Mpumalanga ANC Youth League conference. New officials are expected to be elected over this weekend. Newzroom Afrika's Pelane Phakgadi is at the Witbank Dam in Mpumalanga. Pelane, good evening. It's the second day that we're seeing the violence associated with this Youth League conference take place. What is driving this division?
Well, I can tell you that it is about immense power within the African National Congress Youth League. And of course, you've heard a lot of people talking about the fact that there is a lot of the so-called ANC elders who are very much interested as to who takes over the power within the Youth League and the ranks of it at the regional level and as well as the provincial level. So here in Mpumalanga, it is no different. So just behind me, the program had just begun, and a little earlier on, they've managed to finally adopt credentials. And currently they're just going through the program, of which should also be presented to plenary and then therefore as well be adopted. And the adoption of credentials means that the program now is formally in session, and therefore they could move on to do the elections of leadership and further as well to talk about the policies that are very much important in this very regards. But what I think it is important to allude is that there was a group of ANC Youth League members just outside of the venue here who were claiming that they are voting delegates and therefore they should be allowed to form part of these proceedings behind me, and that was not the case, and the police were then brought in to usher them away from the venue, and they've managed to disperse them since then. So currently the problem that started yesterday from registrations where the registration process had to be halted and restarted again, a little bit of it had re-emerged this afternoon, but of course the police managed to contain that situation, and therefore the program behind me finally getting ahead, and just perhaps they could be able to get to the voting issue and the voting item this particular tonight, and perhaps move on to talk about policy and as well as the additional members of the province come tomorrow.
This conference, of course, being part of a process to try and revitalize and stabilize the ANC Youth League and its branches. Let's talk about the convener that was there earlier on in the day. What did she have to say to this conference?
Well, it is always about revival, renewal, and as well as ensuring that the young people take center stage within the politics of the African National Congress, to ensure that they as well become champions of basic human rights, and in their own communities become champions of moving the African National Congress and its policies towards the people, so that they can be able to understand what the ANC still stands for. Because young people have become a little bit despondent, and particular towards the African National Congress Youth League, and there's been a lot of challenges as far as its leadership is concerned. You do know that they have not had a legitimate kind of structure for some years now, since Colin Maine's NEC was dissolved. It has been led by TTs, one could add, the task teams, and even this particular time it is still being led by the task teams, of which should be able to usher it to this very Congress that we see behind us and into the National Congress. So the talk about the African National Congress Youth League and its stance within communities, and the fact that it has been unable to render the kind of policies and its mouthpiece into the challenges that the young people are facing. It has been in rhetoric, a lot of people had said, and therefore the rebuilding of it had to start from the branches to the regions. We've seen regional conferences of it, and currently to the provinces, and it has not been an easy ride for the provinces. Instead, some of them had to collapse. You've seen even in Limpopo, they've had an ANC Youth League Congress collapse because they just couldn't agree on the issues around credentials, and that was the challenge here as well. But finally, they have been able to adopt them at this particular conference, and it is going ahead, and perhaps they could be able to elect some leadership so that they can be able to talk about the National Congress that will come in and talk about reviving it, and even at some point seeing the national leaderships will be able to talk about infiltrating the National Executive Committee of the mother body of the ANC, so that they can lead, because that has been a thorny issue of them as young people, saying that they want to be part of the ANC NEC so that they can be able to pronounce themselves as far as policy is concerned, including radicalization of the economy, and as well as ensuring that there is land expropriation without compensation, and that has been across the board here at the Youth League of the African National Congress.
All right, Pelane, Phakgadi, let's leave it there for tonight.